Hi everybody. We're going to go over how you order your pattern online from pixelquilts.com. Make sure you put the S in quilts. There's another website that does not have the S in the name, and it is not this one. So pixelquilts.com. You get in here, you create an account and log in. Once you have an account and you're in there, go up to create your own pixel quilt. You're going to click upload image, read over all these liability statements and terms of use, go down to the bottom, click accept, upload image. Get in here, pick a photo. We're going to pick me for demonstration purposes. All right, and your picture will pop up here in the program. And if you hover over your picture and scroll, you can make the picture bigger or smaller. And you can only crop so much in here. So get in there and play around with it. I'm going to have to cut my hair off right there. Click on the right crop image. And then if you like it, save image. Off to the right, this is how your pixel quilt will look. Now, if you're not happy with this, you can reload another picture. Just click change image over to the left. These are the colors here that you will have to buy in order to make this. Let's go through your choices. There's a few things that you are able to change down here. The defaults are level of detail is high, size of the quilt is medium, 72 by 54, fabric line is Kona, number of colors 14, and the values of these colors and everything the default is all colors. There are other choices in here. We'll go through those. Down at the bottom, the quilt statistics say you're going to have 108 blocks, 9 by 12. The smallest finished square is 1 1/4 inches. Number of pieces in this whole quilt is 3663. Complexity is very detailed, approximately 65 plus hours of sewing. Finished block is 6.5 by 6.5. Seam allowance 1/4 inch, of course. What you can change the level of detail. That will, you don't want to do that though. That will change your number of pieces down here. Okay, you can change the size of the quilt. There's only 2 sizes, medium and large. I always choose large. I have done both sizes. I don't like cutting 1 1/4 or something else 1/4 sizes. On the large quilts, your smallest finished square is 1 1/2 inches. Same number of pieces, same complexity, just the pieces are bigger. Your finished block is 8.5 by 8.5. What else you can change is the line of fabric. You have Kona, Cotton Couture, Bella Solids, and Riley Blake Solids. Now, I like Kona. A lot of people don't like Kona because of the texture or whatever. I do. And it seems like these pictures come out better with Kona lines because this program was originally only Kona because it had the most colors at the time. But these others have been added. So let's choose Cotton Couture and see how it looks. I don't like that. It looks like I have sunburn. Bella Solids. Nope. Riley Blake. That's nice. That's a warm palette kind of. So I would either choose that or Kona. Now I'm going to go back to Kona because I want some color in there. It gets kind of boring if you have colors that are really close together. The next thing you can change is your color palette. You have all colors, grayscale, pink, blue, and warm. I have used all colors, grayscale, and warm. Pink and blue, they just don't appeal to me. There's pink. Oh, that's warm. That was kind of like the Riley Blake. And then blue. All right, I don't like that either. I'm going to choose all colors for this one. You can change how many different colors you have. If you want more detail, you just got to have this picture. You can go up to 35 different colors. But I'm going to tell you right now, I've done 5 of these, and you do not want to have 35 different colors to deal with. 14 seems to be the sweet spot. My granddaughter, I'm going to do one with 17 colors on hers. But just play around and see what you like. You can also go less than 14, but I have never done less than 14 because you lose detail. Let's go to 9 and we'll see what that looks like. See, it's just not the same. So play around with it, see what you like. For your first time, I would go 14 or less. I would not go more than that if I were you. But you do what you want to. If you don't like this picture, all you have to do is go over here to the left, click change image. But if you like this and you just want to try another picture, do not close this window. Open up another window and do all the same things with your new picture. For each picture that you want to try, if you want to keep the previous ones, open up a new window. Because if you get out of here and come back in and put the same picture in, it will not look the same. And it's because you never crop it the same, even though it may look like you do. It may be different. So if you like this exact thing and you've played around with it 100 times and this is what you like, open another window for another picture. One last thing before you pay. You can change some of these colors in here, but I would not suggest you do much in there. Okay? This is how you do it. You pick one of these colors, and if I wanted to change this pink dot right here to plum, I'll pick this color over here and click that dot, and it changes the color, see? Now you can do that all over the whole deal, but you get the clicking, you're gonna mess your picture up. Then you go down here, click payment, and you just go through that, and they're $15. All right, go ahead and get your pattern and come on back. All right, you have bought your pattern and printed out all these 1,000 pages. This is my grandson Jonah with his little cute self. This is a picture that I chose. And this is the warm palette. Okay. On the first page, it tells you all the particulars we saw in the pattern earlier. Okay, this one has 3884 pieces. All right, this is all the colors. It tells you how much to cut. If you're gonna use the fusible interfacing grid, then this is what you buy for the fabric. I don't like it. I never did. I always group cut. On this one, every piece will be 1.5 inches. Over here, you have different sizes. And it makes the pattern look more dynamic, I think. All right, so these are the quantities of these fabrics that you will buy. All right, and Scooter will flash on the screen where we got the fabrics from. We've gotten fabric from Pear Tree on Etsy. This is where I get all my Kona fabrics, Pear Tree and Cotton Candy fabrics. I always go to Cotton Candy first because they're a little bit cheaper and the shipping is a little bit cheaper. I think they may be closer or something. They're in Connecticut or somewhere. Anyway, these two places are very good with customer service and they will mark the fabrics for you. All right, let me show you what I mean by that. It is very, very, very important that when you order your fabrics, you tell whoever you order them from to write the name of the color somehow on the fabric. If you don't, you just can't you can't make this. I bought a Kona color card. Scooter will flash that up. It helps, but it's not the same because colors are so similar. Look at these. You won't know by looking at this thing what color to use where. Okay? So if you don't hear anything else from me, you make sure to put in the comments of wherever you get your fabric from for them to mark them with the color name. Okay, now these two people will do that. Just tell them you're making a pixel quilt and they will do it. All right? And they both give you discounts after your first purchase. I get a discount every time now. These fabrics here are ones I already had in my stash because I've done more than one of these. A lot of the colors are the same. So I go back through my stash, and how do I know which color is the right one? Because I write the names in permanent marker, permanent ink. This is the gel roller pen that I use. It's permanent. It will not come off in the wash. I write it in the selvage, and I cut on the other side of wherever I don't mark. So this always stays here. So if I have some left over and I go to work on the next one and I need raffia, then I can find it in my stash. Got it? All right, I learned all this the hard way, okay? So pay attention. When I first get my fabric, I want to wash it. If you don't wash your fabric, that you do you, boo-boo. But I like to wash my fabric. I go through each one and it'll have on here, this is taupe. So I'll write taupe. In the selvage. Stick it over there. This is bison. So you don't need to watch me label everyone, but label every single one. And then I just throw them all. I have never had Kona bleed on me, but I usually, if I have very dark fabrics like these, I don't put them in with very light fabrics like with these. So I would throw all of these in together and all of these, all of these in together. These from my stash are already washed and starched. Now, if you don't want to starch, don't starch. But these are very small pieces and it really does help. That's all I got to say about that. Once you wash them, then I'll starch. We'll be back after that. All right, you washed all your fabric. You separated it from that jumbled mess you had and cut off all the frame parts. All right, what you're gonna do is you're gonna fold your fabric selvage to selvage. Okay, most of them will be 1 yard cuts or half yard cuts. If you have any cuts that are bigger than a yard, I usually cut those down into 1 yard pieces because they're easier to handle. Fold your fabric selvage to selvage, and you want to hang it straight. See at the bottom down there, it doesn't look like it's straight. You want to, with your selvage together, you're going to move it left or right. Let's look at it and move it left to right till it looks like it's hanging straight. Okay. This needs to go back the other way. All right. Once you got it kind of hanging straight there, I usually fold them up again and just store them until I'm ready to starch them. But when you get ready to starch them, I'll have it like this. I'm going to open it up half. You don't need to open it up fully. Okay. And this is the starch I use. Okay. Now you got 14 fabrics. One of these, if you do it heavily like I do, one of these will cover about 2 yards of fabric. So you need 7 of these thingies for 14 fabrics. All right, and then we're just gonna move slowly over. And you want to soak it, but you don't want it dripping, wasting starch. Okay. And there's a little red dot in here, make sure your nozzle is pointing to that red dot and you can get every drop of it out of there. And you can see how it's wet, and try to overlap just a little bit so you don't have any dry spots. The slower you move, the stiffer your fabric is going to be because you're depositing more starch. So I like mine pretty stiff because it makes it easier to cut. And you can kind of stack them up like cards, and you can tell which pieces aren't cut quite right when you do that. And I just like the feel of them, and they're easier to handle. Smaller pieces need some kind of stiffener. But if you don't want to starch, then just don't. Just fold it up like we got here. Okay. And I usually just do this so it can soak up and it's not going to all end up on my towel. I do have a towel on my ironing board to protect it. Get off of there. Then you flip it over. I usually go a little faster on the second side because it's soaking through there. I make sure mine's hanging straight at this stage, fold it over correctly so I don't have to worry about it when it dries. Be wrestling with it. Okay. Let it soak up for a minute. I just usually do one of these. And you can see it's wet. It is very wet. It's soaking. It's soaked, I'm sorry. But it's not dripping. All right, and then I take it over to my little bamboo drying rack. And hang it like this. You do not, I repeat, do not try to iron this while it's wet. You let it dry fully. Usually within a couple of hours, I turn on the ceiling fan and just walk out of here. And it's dry in 2 or 3 hours or whatever. Don't try to iron it while it's damp or wet. And we'll come back after that and iron it. Where it hangs over here, there will be like a dent, and you'll see when we come back, this is going to be really stiff, and there's a dent in here. All you have to do is use a little steam or a little bit more starch, just a really light layer that will create steam once you hit your iron, and it'll come right out. So if you starched, we'll come back and I'll show you what to do when I iron. Okay, this is a dry yard of fabric after I have spray starched it. And here's some other ones over here. Scooter, can you get that? I'm not done yet. I need some more starch. That's coming later, but it's stiff, but not like overly stiff. And you will have this bend in here. Okay, and all I do is we've already matched the selvages, and it's hanging straight. All we're gonna do is just iron it just like this. And some of these wrinkles will not come out. If you are crazy about that, then you can use a little bit more starch. If you use steam, then your fabric won't be as stiff. But you can see, most of them come out. And most likely you will not be using, you're going to be cutting small pieces, so I wouldn't worry about this folded edge here. Don't worry about putting that crease in there. Now, where it was hanging on the drying rack, you can sometimes have that stuck in there. But if you put a little starch on it, it'll come out. I'm not going to worry about it right now because it's not bad. I'm not using any steam. Now, I wanted to say, if you have never starched before, try 1 yard of fabric and see how you like it. Just do one. Some people are diehard starchers. I'm not a super diehard starcher where I won't piece anything if it's not starched. I'm not all that crazy, but I do like it better when my fabric is starched, especially for this project. And then almost done, and I'll show you how I fold everything to be ready for cutting. So that's all done. So I'm going to take the selvage edge and I'm going to fold it past. Well, you could either take this part to your selvage like this, which is easier. If you have the fold toward you, and you're going to be cutting this selvage off as you go, you're not going to be using that. So leave that out. If you put it up to here and you're cutting, then you're going to lose a little bit of fabric here. You won't be able to use that if you're going to be cutting across. So I just bring it down a little bit and try to keep this edge straight. And I don't iron this fold in. I just push it with my hands. And over here is where I wrote the name of the fabric, and I want that to stay out. So I can either do it like this, where I don't have to fumble around and look for it all the time. Well, a bit longer. And then I don't smush these edges down. I just leave it just like this, and I stack them all up. And this is up where I know what color I have, and I just stack them all in a stack. That's it. So now you've done all your prep work. After you iron this, you've done all your prep work, and we're on to the cutting next. So that's going to be a separate video. So go ahead and get everything ironed up. So we'll be ready next time to get down to the nitty gritty. All right, that's it.